This supplement could cut your dementia risk by 40%. What if one of the simplest nutrients your body needs every single day could also play a major role in protecting one of your most valuable assets, your brain? Not a new drug, not an expensive treatment, just one vitamin that millions of people around the world are deficient in. A large study involving more than 12,000 older adults found that people taking vitamin D supplements were associated with approximately a 40% lower risk of developing dementia over the course of the study. That headline is exciting, but here's where many people get it wrong. This does not automatically mean vitamin D is a miracle cure. Science rarely works that way. Instead, this finding opens a much bigger conversation about what is really happening inside the aging brain and why your metabolism, your immune system, your hormones, and even your liver all influence whether your brain stays resilient or gradually begins to decline. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your brain isn't just an organ that stores memories. It's one of the most metabolically active tissues you have. Although it makes up only about 2% of your body weight, it consumes roughly 20% of your energy. Every brain cell depends on healthy mitochondria, stable blood sugar, low inflammation, adequate blood flow, and the right nutrients to repair itself day after day. When any of those systems begin to fail, brain cells become more vulnerable, inflammation increases, oxidative stress builds, communication between neurons slows. Over many years, that damage can accumulate into cognitive decline. That's why functional medicine doesn't ask only, how do we treat dementia? It asks a much better question. What creates an environment where the brain can stay healthy for decades? Today, we're going to answer exactly that. We'll examine what the latest research actually says about vitamin D, why the 40% reduction deserves careful interpretation, how vitamin D works like a hormone rather than a simple vitamin, who is most likely to benefit from correcting a deficiency, and, most importantly, the practical lifestyle habits that work together to support lifelong brain health. And if you're someone who wants to understand the science behind healthy aging instead of chasing health headlines, you're in the right place. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. Every day, we break down complex metabolic and brain health research into practical strategies you can actually use. Your brain contains billions of nerve cells that are communicating with one another every second of every day. Every memory you form, every decision you make, every face you recognize, and every conversation you have depends on these cells staying healthy and connected. That is why understanding vitamin D begins with one important fact that surprises many people. Vitamin D isn't simply a vitamin. Functionally, it behaves much more like a hormone. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Think of your body as a city with thousands of buildings. Your DNA is the blueprint stored inside every building, but blueprints don't do anything on their own. They need managers who decide which instructions should be followed. Vitamin D acts like one of those managers. Once it's activated by your liver and kidneys, it binds to vitamin D receptors found throughout the body, including in the hippocampus and cerebral cortex, two regions deeply involved in learning, memory, and decision-making. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your brain is a busy city at night. The neurons are houses, and the electrical signals traveling between them are the lights. Vitamin D doesn't create the electricity, but it helps maintain the power grid. If the grid becomes unstable, lights begin flickering. Entire neighborhoods may lose power. In much the same way, when vitamin D levels remain low for years, the brain may become more vulnerable to inflammation, oxidative stress, and impaired communication between neurons. What the research shows is that vitamin D plays several important roles simultaneously. It helps regulate the immune system so it doesn't remain chronically overactive. It supports the production of proteins that protect neurons from damage. It contributes to calcium balance inside brain cells, which is essential because too much calcium inside neurons can become toxic over time. Researchers have also found that vitamin D may help the brain clear abnormal protein deposits more efficiently, while supporting healthy blood vessels that deliver oxygen and nutrients to brain tissue. But here's an important point. Vitamin D is not a magic shield against dementia. If someone sleeps 4 hours a night, eats an ultra-processed diet, never exercises, has uncontrolled diabetes, and experiences chronic inflammation, correcting a vitamin D deficiency alone is unlikely to overcome all of those risk factors. Brain health is the result of many systems working together. That's exactly why functional medicine focuses on identifying and correcting the root causes instead of searching for a single miracle supplement. Vitamin D is one important piece of the puzzle, but it's most powerful when it's supporting an already healthy metabolic environment. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. Every day, we break down the latest health research into practical, science-backed strategies that help you protect your metabolism, sharpen your mind, and support healthy aging for years to come. The headline that probably brought you to this video is this: this supplement could cut your dementia risk by 40%. That's certainly attention-grabbing. But if we're going to make decisions about our health based on science, We have to look beyond the headline and understand what the research actually tells us. Here's what's really going on inside your body and inside the research. The study that generated this statistic followed more than 12,000 older adults over several years. Researchers observed that participants who reported taking vitamin D supplements developed dementia at a significantly lower rate than those who did not. After accounting for multiple health factors, supplement users were associated with roughly a 40% lower incidence of dementia. At first glance, that sounds like proof, but here's where critical thinking matters. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine you notice that people carrying umbrellas are much more likely to be standing in the rain. Does the umbrella cause the rain? Of course not. The umbrella is associated with rainy weather, but it isn't the reason the rain falls. The same principle applies here. An observational study can reveal powerful associations, but it cannot prove that vitamin D alone prevented dementia. It's possible that people taking vitamin D were also more physically active, exercised outdoors, maintained healthier diets, visited their doctors regularly, or had better control of conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure. All of those factors influence long-term brain health. That doesn't mean we should dismiss the findings. In fact, quite the opposite. When researchers combine observational evidence with laboratory studies showing that vitamin D reduces neuroinflammation, supports immune regulation, protects neurons from oxidative stress, and may help maintain healthy blood vessels in the brain, the overall picture becomes much more compelling. Instead of relying on one study, scientists build confidence by looking for consistent findings across different types of research. This is exactly how evidence-based medicine works. We don't chase headlines, we evaluate the total body of evidence. So what should you do with this information? First, don't assume that taking large doses of vitamin D will guarantee protection against dementia. More is not always better, and excessive supplementation can lead to problems such as elevated calcium levels and kidney complications. Instead, focus on achieving optimal, not maximum, vitamin D levels. If you're over 50, spend very little time outdoors, have darker skin, carry excess body fat, or have conditions that affect nutrient absorption, it may be worth asking your healthcare provider to measure your blood level of 25-hydroxyvitamin D before deciding whether supplementation is appropriate. Knowledge is powerful, but applying that knowledge wisely is what protects your health. That's why understanding both the strengths and the limitations of research is one of the most valuable tools you can have as you work toward a healthier brain and a longer, more vibrant life. One of the biggest questions people ask after hearing about vitamin D and brain health is this: if vitamin D is so important, why are so many people deficient? The answer has less to do with personal choices than you might think. In many ways, modern life is almost designed to create vitamin D deficiency. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your skin is like a natural solar panel. When ultraviolet B rays from sunlight reach your skin, they trigger the production of vitamin D. But unlike a solar panel sitting in direct sunlight, most of us spend the majority of our day indoors, working in offices, driving in cars, shopping inside buildings, or relaxing at home. Even when we do go outside, we often wear sunscreen or clothing that blocks much of the UVB light needed to produce vitamin D. Now add aging into the equation. As we get older, our skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D from sunlight. At the same time, the liver and kidneys, two organs responsible for converting vitamin D into its active form, may not work as efficiently as they once did. This means that many older adults have lower vitamin D levels even if they spend the same amount of time outdoors. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine trying to fill a bathtub, but the faucet is only half open while the drain is partially unplugged. Even though water is flowing in, you're losing it almost as quickly. That's what can happen with vitamin D as we age. Production slows, activation becomes less efficient, and the body's demand for healthy immune and brain function continues. There's another important factor that many people don't realize. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble nutrient, meaning it can become stored in body fat. In people with obesity or significant insulin resistance, more vitamin D may be sequestered in fat tissue, leaving less available in the bloodstream where the body can use it effectively. This is one reason obesity has been linked with lower circulating vitamin D levels, even when total body stores may appear adequate. What the research shows is that vitamin D deficiency is also more common in people with type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, chronic kidney disease, digestive disorders such as celiac disease or Crohn's disease, and in those taking certain medications that interfere with vitamin D metabolism. So what can you do? Start with the basics. If possible, spend 15 to 30 minutes outdoors several times a week, depending on your skin tone, location, season, and local UV index. Include natural food sources such as fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, egg yolks, and fortified dairy or plant-based products. Most importantly, if you're in a higher risk group, consider having your 25-hydroxyvitamin D level checked rather than guessing. Remember, the goal isn't simply to raise a number on a lab report, it's to create the internal environment your brain needs to thrive. When vitamin D is optimized alongside healthy metabolism, balanced blood sugar, quality sleep, and regular movement, you're giving your brain the foundation it needs to stay resilient for decades to come. If this is helping you better understand the science behind healthy aging, consider subscribing. Every day, we turn the latest research into practical strategies you can apply to protect your brain, improve your metabolism, and support a longer, healthier life. By now, you might be thinking, so should everyone just start taking vitamin D? The better question is this: how do you create an internal environment where your brain can actually use that vitamin D to its full potential? Because this is where many people focus on the supplement and completely overlook the biology. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your brain doesn't exist in isolation. It's connected to every major system in your body. The food you eat influences your blood sugar. Your blood sugar affects insulin. Insulin influences inflammation. Inflammation affects your blood vessels. And your blood vessels determine how much oxygen and nutrition reach your brain cells. Think of your body like a garden. Vitamin D is one of the nutrients that helps the plants grow. But if the soil is dry, full of weeds, and constantly flooded with toxins, adding more fertilizer won't solve the problem. You have to improve the entire environment. The same is true for your brain. Research increasingly shows that insulin resistance is one of the strongest drivers of cognitive decline. In fact, some scientists have even referred to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes because the brain gradually becomes less responsive to insulin. When brain cells can't efficiently use glucose for energy, they become stressed, communication between neurons begins to weaken, and inflammation increases. Now add chronic inflammation to the picture. Every time blood sugar spikes dramatically from ultra-processed foods and sugary drinks, inflammatory signals rise throughout the body. Over months and years, this low-grade inflammation can damage blood vessels, impair the blood-brain barrier, and make it easier for harmful proteins and oxidative stress to accumulate inside the brain. This is why vitamin D is only one piece of the puzzle. What the research shows is that the greatest protection against cognitive decline comes from addressing multiple lifestyle factors together. So here's a practical brain health protocol you can begin today. Keep blood sugar stable by building meals around protein, healthy fats, vegetables, and high-fiber carbohydrates instead of refined sugars. Exercise consistently. Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate physical activity each week, along with 2 or 3 sessions of strength training. Exercise improves insulin sensitivity, increases blood flow to the brain, and stimulates the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, often called fertilizer for the brain. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. During deep sleep, your brain activates the glymphatic system, which helps clear waste products, including proteins associated with Alzheimer's disease. Manage chronic stress. Persistently elevated cortisol can shrink the hippocampus over time, affecting memory and learning. Daily walks, mindfulness, prayer, breathing exercises, and meaningful social connections all help regulate the stress response. Optimize your nutrient status. If testing confirms you're deficient, work with your healthcare provider to restore healthy vitamin D levels while ensuring you also get enough magnesium, since it's required to activate vitamin D, and vitamin K2, which helps direct calcium to the bones rather than soft tissues. The lesson is simple but powerful. Don't ask, what's the one supplement that will save my brain? Instead, ask, how can I create the healthiest environment for my brain to repair, protect, and perform every single day? When you combine optimal vitamin D levels with stable blood sugar, regular movement, restorative sleep, stress management, and nutrient-dense nutrition, you're no longer relying on one supplement. You're building a lifestyle that supports brain health, metabolic health, and healthy aging for the long term. If this video has helped you see the bigger picture, consider subscribing. Every day we bring you practical, science-backed strategies that empower you to take control of your health naturally. Conclusion. Let's bring everything together. We started with a headline that caught millions of people's attention. Could one simple supplement reduce dementia risk by 40%? As you've seen, the real answer is both more nuanced and far more empowering. The research is certainly encouraging. Large observational studies have found that people who regularly took vitamin D supplements were associated with a significantly lower risk of developing dementia. At the same time, laboratory and clinical research continues to show that vitamin D plays an important role in regulating inflammation, supporting immune function, protecting neurons from oxidative stress, and maintaining healthy brain function. But perhaps the biggest lesson from today's discussion is this: there is no single supplement that can replace a healthy lifestyle. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your brain is constantly responding to the choices you make every day. Every nutritious meal helps reduce inflammation. Every walk improves blood flow. Every strength training session makes your body more sensitive to insulin. Every good night's sleep gives your brain the opportunity to repair itself. Every hour spent managing stress instead of living in chronic fight or flight helps protect the delicate networks responsible for memory and learning. Think of these habits as making daily deposits into your brain's retirement account. One healthy decision may seem small, but when repeated consistently over years, those decisions compound into something incredibly valuable, a brain that stays sharper, stronger, and more resilient as you age. So, what should you do after watching this video? Start with one simple step. If you haven't checked your vitamin D level and you belong to a higher risk group, perhaps you're over 50, spend very little time outdoors, have darker skin, or have a condition that affects nutrient absorption, talk with your healthcare provider about whether testing your 25-hydroxyvitamin D level is appropriate. Then don't stop there. Make it your goal to build a brain-healthy lifestyle, eat whole, nutrient-dense foods, keep your blood sugar stable, exercise consistently, get 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, spend time outdoors, stay socially connected, challenge your brain by learning new skills throughout life. These habits work together. And when they do, they create an internal environment where your brain has the best possible chance to thrive. Remember, protecting your brain isn't something you begin after memory problems appear. It's something you build today, one decision at a time. So here's my challenge for you. Choose just one habit from this video and commit to it for the next 30 days. Whether it's taking a daily walk in the morning sun, improving your sleep schedule, eating more omega-3 rich foods, or getting your vitamin D level tested, don't underestimate the power of consistent action. Small changes, repeated daily, often produce the biggest results over time. Your future brain is being shaped by the choices you make today. If this video added value to your life, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who cares about healthy aging. And if you want more evidence-based strategies to improve your metabolism, protect your brain, increase your energy, and extend your healthy lifespan naturally, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Thank you for watching, take care of your health, and I'll see you in the next one.